ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
The Christie cabinet will be completely assembled by Friday, with the first appointment to be announced tomorrow. Good night, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley, and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. Thanks for joining us. Prime Minister the Right Honourable Perry Christie has vowed to leave no stone unturned in pursuit of a brighter future for Bahamians, alleviating the joblessness and crime which have characterized a trying period in the country. As he was sworn in today at Government House, marking the start of his second non-consecutive term in office, Mr. Christie thanked supporters, appealed to the patriotic spirit of political opposites, and made some key announcements about his new administration.
All things, I will be a true and faithful Prime Minister.
Taking the oath of Prime Minister for the second time in his 38-year parliamentary career, Prime Minister the Right Honourable Perry Gladstone Christie reflected on an election campaign in which he says the electorate spoke with crystal clarity and previewed an electoral term brighter than the one before.
My colleagues and I will leave no stone unturned in our common pursuit of a better and brighter future for all of you. I most especially assure the young people of our country, without whose support I would not be standing here today.
And it is to those young people, the primary victims of joblessness and crime, that Mr. Christie made this pledge.
It will not be easy, but of this you can be assured. This new government will not tire from its labors until it has fulfilled its commitment to you.
To family, friends, and throngs of supporters who helped him pull off a landslide victory, he said thank you. And to those who opposed him, he called for national unity. This before announcing plans for his cabinet.
I have already turned my mind to the important task of forming a new government. The first of my ministerial appointments will be announced tomorrow, and my entire cabinet will be fully assembled by Friday. My transition team, headed by former Attorney General Sean McQueenie, QC, is already hard at work, and I propose to appoint Mr. Wendell Major, CMG, later today, the new acting Cabinet Secretary with immediate effect.
Now, this was a momentous occasion for Mr. Christie, especially because today is his son Adam's birthday. Well, Mr. Christie also spoke to us about former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram and his sudden departure from politics yesterday. Here's his reaction.
You know, I said I wouldn't be surprised at anything he did, but I don't think, given the scale of his defeat, that he would have wanted to come back into Parliament to sit on the opposite side to me and to be the subject of discussions that would revolve around him moving forward. I think in the aftermath of Hubert Ingram, I think the people of that constituency will revert to the PLP. I don't have any doubt about that.
Now, Mr. Christie said the North Abaco candidate for the Progressive Liberal Party, Renard Okari, would have an advantage in the choice for a candidate in the pending by-election brought on by Mr. Ingram's resignation from his parliamentary seat. Mr. Christie also spoke to us about succession planning within the PLP.
The PLP has a great future ahead of it because we have now brought into elective politics a significant number of young personalities. So I'm very content on that, and you know, but right now they are expecting me to form a government, to roll my sleeves up and begin the work of solving some of the problems of the country. And I think we're going to do that.
It's being called one of the most significant general elections in Bahamian history as the Progressive Liberal parties return to government with a group of new faces to the political stage. Calling it a hard-fought battle, the new Prime Minister, Perry Christie, says it's now time for Bahamians everywhere to unite and for national healing to begin. Our Cyan Thompson was at the PLP's victory rally at Clifford Park Monday night.
It's so wonderful to be here tonight with you. You've been so beautiful during this campaign for us. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you.
That was incoming Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Perry Christie, addressing thousands on Clifford Park Monday night after his party, in the unofficial election results, won by a landslide.
I would like to extend, with deepest humility, my thanks to the Bahamian people for reposing their confidence in me and my party, and for doing so in such a powerful and unequivocal voice. Now that the general elections are over, the hard work must now begin.
While Mr. Christie called the victory a magnificent one, he told Bahamians that there's much work to be done.
I pledge to you this evening, as you assemble here in your thousands on Clifford Park, I pledge to you that I will give of my very best, and my colleagues who will join me in the new government will do the same. Great challenges will lie ahead, but with God's grace and the support of the Bahamian people, we will overcome the challenges and restore peace and prosperity to our beloved land.
The incoming Prime Minister is proud that Bahamians showed the world that democracy reigns in this nation.
Today, whether you supported me and my colleagues or not, I want to thank you all of you, all of the people of our beloved Bahamas, for showing the whole world what a great democracy we have here in our country.
Mr. Christie charged each Bahamian to take up their mantle to make the Bahamas a great nation.
You're very, very special, and together we are going to work hard to make this country the best little country in the entire world.
Cyan Thompson, ZNS News.
Well, outgoing Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Hubert Ingram, went to the Free National Movement's Mackey Street headquarters late last night, and that's where he delivered a nationally televised address announcing his resignation as leader of the FNM, telling supporters and the people of North Abaco that he will also resign as the newly elected Member of Parliament for North Abaco. Shanique Miller tells us that the announcement came just after 9 p.m. after it became clear that the PLP had defeated the FNM.
Today, the Bahamas once again demonstrated the vitality and endurance of our proud democratic heritage. We did so peacefully and with mutual respect. On behalf of my party, the Free National Movement, my party accepts the results of the general election. The Progressive Liberal Party has won the election. I attempted to speak to the leader of the opposition, but was unable to do so. I'd like to publicly congratulate him and his party.
Speaking to a national audience as well as a room full of party supporters, Mr. Ingram announced he will step out of public life entirely. The announcement indicating that a by-election for the North Abaco seat is looming.
I do not propose to lead the party in opposition. I shall resign as leader of the party. I shall also not take my seat in the House of Assembly. I shall resign as a member of the House of Assembly. I shall return to private life.
Then Mr. Ingram turned within, thanking the supporters of his party and the people of the constituency that has supported him for 8 consecutive terms, even the grandchildren who initially coined the name Papa.
I want to first of all thank the Free National Movement for making me its leader. Secondly, I should like to thank the good people of North Abaco, who elected me to the House of Assembly on 7 occasions and who have today also elected me again. I should like to thank all of my party's candidates, officers, members, supporters, you our ground troops, and FNMs throughout the country for your loyalty, for your support, and for your kindness towards me and my family. To my grandchildren who name me Papa, I want to thank them for their encouragement. I thank my children for their love and support. I thank my wife most profusely for standing with me. I know that I also want to thank my friend Boogaloo Alfonso Elliott, who has been with me and a lifelong friend. And as someone here, Mama is smiling on her boy. I promised her I would do the best I could while I was here, and I did. From the bottom of my heart, I thank all.
And even as the man who's led the Free National Movement into government first in 1992, then for 2 non-consecutive terms after that, made way to leave party headquarters, supporters crowded around him, giving him hugs, some chanting the song that defined his 2012 election campaign, Simply the Best. Shanique Miller, ZNS News.
Well, the Right Honourable Hubert Ingram served in public life for 30 years. Half of those years as the country's Prime Minister. But now that the former Prime Minister has bowed out of politics, our LTV's Munnings takes a closer look at the legacy he's left behind.
Following brief periods of employment in the accounting departments of Owens, Illinois Sugar Mill Company in Abaco, the Bahamas Telecommunications Corporation, and the Chase Manhattan Bank in Nassau, Hubert Ingram became an articled law clerk and was called to the Bahamas bar in December 1972. He entered private practice and eventually became the senior partner in the firm of Christie, Ingram & Co. Mr. Ingram entered frontline politics 3 years later when he was elected to the National General Council of the Progressive Liberal Party. He became party chairman in 1976. Mr. Ingram was initially elected to the House of Assembly to represent his hometown of Cooperstown, Abaco in 1977, a seat he's held more than 30 years. Former Prime Minister, the late Sir Lyndon Pinling, appointed the veteran politician to his cabinet as Minister for Housing and National Insurance in 1982. He was dismissed from the cabinet in 1984, and his public criticism of the then government resulted in Mr. Ingram's expulsion from the PLP in 1986. Mr. Ingram secured another term in Parliament as an independent candidate in 1987. However, 4 years later, he joined the Free National Movement and was elected leader of the party and appointed leader of the official opposition. Mr. Ingram was successful in leading the FNM to government in the 1992, 1997, and 2007 general elections. Mr. Ingram officially bowed out of frontline politics on May 7th. In 1993, Mr. Ingram was made a member of Her Majesty's Most Honourable Privy Council, and in March 2000, he received an honorary doctorate degree from the University of Buckingham in England. LTV's Munnings, ZNS News.
Now on to the issue of leadership within the FNM. Free National Movement Chairman Carl Bethel said in a release today that the transition of leadership and the nomination to fill the constitutional office of Leader of the Official Opposition will be achieved through an orderly process. Mr. Bethel noted that FNM Leader, the Right Honourable Hubert Ingram, in consultation with parliamentary colleagues, will steer the transition process, which will initially involve the party's Central Council and other relevant party committees. Until the process is finished, the release confirms Mr. Ingram will remain Free National Movement leader. The FNM also issued a release saying that the party set out not just to win an election, but to advocate a set of principles and ideals. And though the party fell short on the final vote count, those ideals and principles continue to endure. The FNM thanks everyone who worked tirelessly on behalf of the party and congratulated the new government. And as they celebrated a hard-fought victory, the FNM would remind them that with power comes responsibility. The Parliamentary Registration Department is still busy recounting ballots in order to certify official results from the 2012 general elections. Parliamentary Commissioner Errol Bethel says, as it stands, the PLP would have won no less than 28 seats and the FNM 9. He admits, though, that the South Eleuthera and North Andros seats are very close. Well, despite the election results, Democratic National Alliance leader Branville McCartney says his team will move on. McCartney watched the results from his home, and even though his party didn't secure one seat, he's impressed with the impact the party has made nationwide. LTV's Munnings spoke with him.
Disappointed but optimistic is how Democratic National Alliance leader Branville McCartney felt once the 2012 general election was determined. He congratulated Progressive Liberal Party leader Perry Christie and his team on their election victory, but assured that the Democratic National Alliance will continue to be a force to reckon with.
We look forward, hopefully, for this country to move forward. There are many issues that we face, and as a DNA's leader, we certainly wish to support all of the good initiatives of the government and keep the government on its feet. for any foolishness they may do. It's time for us to look at our educational system and ensure that we stop producing D students and produce students that can compete on the world stage. And of course, our economy is in shambles, and we need to get people back to work. We need to ensure that we empower people.
McCartney sincerely thanked his candidates, better known as agents of change, all party supporters, and Bahamians everywhere for their support during the general election. He also congratulated the new Member of Parliament-elect for Bamboo Town, Renard Wells.
If there's anything I can do for his entrance into Bamboo Town, I am more than willing to do that, to assist in any way.
And what's next for the DNA? McCartney says to prepare for the 2017 general election.
But not in a way that's going to be divisive, but preparing for the next election to lay the foundation so that we are successful at the next election. We are just starting. We've only just begun. This is the first step in a long road.
McCartney maintains the DNA made history as a political party and uses it as one of the lessons he learned this election season.
Because something has not been done before does not mean it cannot be done. And we did it. We made history. We became a major party within 1 year. And I'm very, very glad. See, you can't take that away. But that's not because of the DNA. That's because of the people.
McCartney also quashed rumors that he's quitting the Democratic National Alliance. He assured the word quit is not in his vocabulary. Altaviz Munnings, ZNS News.
Well, still to come in the Bahamas tonight, police need your help in solving a crime which has claimed the lives of a mother and her son. That story is after the break.